Sorry, students, I had some network issue. So just confirm if you're able to see my screen.
Yes, sir, we can see it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We can.
Good, good. So we get started. So last class, I remember explaining you the concept of magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor. Do you guys remember that? So magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor came out to be how much? When it is of finite length, the value is mu naught I divided by 4 pi a into sine alpha plus sine beta, where alpha and beta are the angles subtended by the ends of the finite length at the point where you're trying to calculate the field. And a stands for what, guys? A stands for the perpendicular distance from the current carrying conductor to the point where you're trying to calculate the magnetic field. I hope you remember this formula, right? Then we saw what is the magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor of infinite length. It came out to be mu naught I divided by 2 pi into A. Similarly, when you calculate it for the semi-infinite length, it came out to be mu naught I divided by 4 pi into A. Correct? So based on that, we did a problem also. In today's class, we are going to see what is the magnetic field. Please write down the heading.
Sir?
Yeah, please tell me.
Sir, actually, last class you gave 2 sums as homework, sir.
Yeah, did you complete it?
And you said we'll discuss it today, sir.
Yeah, where are they? What problems did I ask you to do?
Sir, actually, you drew a rectangle, and you named a point inside the rectangle as P, and you asked to find P, sir. BP, sir. Magnetic field inside that point.
Point P, okay.
Length.
Point P.
Length is L and breadth is B, sir.
Okay. How many of you solved it? Length and breadth. Did I give any other problem?
Sir, an equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangle.
I gave an
also,
equilateral triangle also, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, if I take an equilateral triangle of side A, and the current is flowing in the clockwise direction, let's take it in this way. I think this is the direction I gave it.
Yes, sir.
Clockwise or anti-clockwise?
Clockwise, sir.
Clockwise, sir.
Clockwise.
Okay, A, B, C. That's good. So, 1 minute. Listen. So if the current is flowing in the clockwise direction, right? So it is I'll first solve the equilateral triangle, then we'll go to the rectangle. So if I take this equilateral triangle, the current in this is I, and there is a point P here. Now the question is, I need to know this distance. I need to know this distance D for me to apply the formula mu naught I divided by 4 pi into A into sine alpha plus sine beta. Accepted? Similarly, if I know this distance, from here, if I try to join this point, how much is this angle, guys? It is 60 degrees. This is 90. Then how much is this angle? That's an obvious question.
30 degrees.
30 degrees.
So it is 30 degrees. That's right. So from here, if I calculate, this is also going to be 30, this is going to be 60 degrees, right? Now, what is the formula? Mu naught I divided by 4 pi into, what is the distance, guys? What is the distance from one of the sides to the centroid of the triangle? For that, what we can do is, if I drop a perpendicular, then this is going to be the angular bisector, it is 30 degrees. Then this will be A by 2, accepted. If I take this distance as D, from B to P, A by 2 divided by D is equal to how much? Cos 30 degrees. So which implies D is equal to A by 2 secant 30 or A by 2 cos 30. Guys, are you able to understand? D is equal to A by 2 cos 30. But how much is cos 30? It is root 3 by 2. So both will get cancelled and the answer will come out as A divided by root 3. Right? So what is the value of D? D is nothing but A divided by root 3 into sine of, how much should I substitute the value of alpha as? How much should I substitute the value of alpha as this? I have two angles in my hand. Should I substitute 60 degrees or 30 degrees? Sorry, I'm not
60
able to.
degrees, sir.
60 is wrong then. Go back and see the formula, no? Where is alpha and beta? How did we derive it? Check your notes. So alpha and beta are the angles near the point where you're trying to calculate the theta, right? So alpha and beta in this case will not be 60 degrees, rather it is going to be
30 degrees.
30 degrees. So sine 30 plus sine 30. If you substitute these two values, you'll get a 40. You'll get an answer. So this is the magnetic field due to the first conductor. Guys, are you able to understand? I took the magnetic field only due to the first conductor. What will be the magnetic field due to the second conductor? The same value in terms of magnitude, because it is symmetrical. B3 will also be the same thing. Again, it is symmetrical. But since magnetic field is a vector quantity, we need to be more concerned with respect to direction. So for that, what we can do is if I put a vector symbol on top of all these things. Now, guys, tell me using the right hand thumb rule, in which direction is the magnetic field due to each wire? Use a right hand thumb rule and tell me.
Everything is out of the plane, sir.
Is it so? Think again.
Towards the plane, sir. Inwards.
It's not toward, it is into the plane. Because, see, the current is in this direction, right? So when you place the thumb of your right hand in the direction of current and curl the fingers on the right of it are going into the plane. Correct? So similar is the case with respect to this also. If I keep my thumb here, the fingers will go into the plane. Similarly, for the bottom, the current is in this direction, and into the plane. So the magnetic field due to all the three are into the plane, hence it is minus k cap. So what will be the net value of magnetic field, guys? B1 vector plus B2 vector plus B3 vector, which is going to be this value times, so 3 times this value times minus k cap. Sine 30 plus sine 30 is going to be 1. So 3 root 3 divided by 4 pi a times mu naught I is the answer. That's what you will get when you solve and simplify the expression. I hope it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In a similar way, I'm going to give you an outline of how to handle that rectangle problem. So when you take the rectangle, I, if I take this point P, if I join these two, okay, then from here, if this is L, then how much will this distance be? This will be L by 2 and this will be B by 2. Then how much is this distance? By root of L square plus B square, the whole divided by 2. Correct? Right? Now this is going to be alpha, this is going to be beta. But in this case, fortunately, alpha and beta are the same values. So if I take this as the first conductor, what is going to be the magnetic field due to the first conductor? Mu naught I divided by 4 pi into, tell me, mu naught I divided by 4 pi into
Root over L square plus B square.
sorry,
Root over L square plus B square.
4 pi into A is a perpendicular distance from the conductor to the point.
L by 2, sir.
L by 2.
It is L by 2. L by 2 into sine alpha plus sine beta. Okay. So mu naught I divided by 2 pi into L into what is sine alpha, guys? Sin alpha is b by 2 divided by root of L square plus b square by 2 plus b by 2 divided by root of L square plus b square the whole divided by 2. 2 and 2 are gone. Here also 2 and 2 are gone. So what will you get? Mu naught I divided by 2 pi L into 2 times b divided by root of L square plus b square. 2 and 2 will get cancelled. So it will be mu naught I into b divided by pi L into root of L square plus b square. Okay, this is the magnetic field due to whom? Due to the first conductor. If I make it as a vector, now tell me the direction, guys. Now tell me the direction. Is it into the plane or out of the plane?
Into the
plane,
planes.
sir.
That's right. It is into the plane, which is minus k cap. Always remember, whenever you have the current flowing in the clockwise direction, the magnetic field is always into the plane. Okay. Similarly, this value will be exactly equal to the magnetic field due to another conductor. Tell me, you need not sit and solve. Based on symmetry, you can tell me. B1 will be exactly equal to something else.
B3.
So B3, sir.
That's right. It will be exactly equal to B3 because they are in opposite direction. And one more confusion that will start for you guys is current here is in upward direction, current here is in the downward direction. But in magnetic field, the advantage is if there is a point P lying on either sides of a conductor which are carrying currents in opposite direction, the magnetic field will be in the same direction. If you want, you can apply right hand thumb rule and see. You will get this out of experience, okay? So for the first conductor, current is in upward direction, thumb in the upward direction into the plane. For the second conductor, the current is in downward direction and the fingers are going into the plane. Hence, B1 will be equal to B3. Even without solving, can you guys tell me what will be the changes in B2? Something will get swapped, that's it. Everything else will be the same. It will be mu naught I divided by pi into
B. Pi into B.
it will become B here, here it will become L, and everything else is the same. L square plus B square in the direction of minus K cap. With the hope that you guys have understood the concept, I'm leaving this part to you. And this will be exactly equal to B4 vector. Hence, the net magnetic field will be equal to B1 vector plus B2 vector plus B3 vector plus B4 vector, or 2 times B1 vector plus 2 times B3 vector. Sorry, B2 vector. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. Okay, so this is all about handling the problems based on straight current carrying conductors of finite length. Okay, now let's go to the next concept of magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor. Sorry, magnetic field due to a circular current carrying conductor. Magnetic field due to a circular current carrying conductor. Okay, this is a slightly tricky one. I want you to concentrate. It is simple only, but tricky. I'll not say it is tough. Okay. So what we have is, you need to understand certain parts. Fortunately, I have a circular object in my hand. I have a bangle here in front of me. Okay. So what the topic says is, I'll show you where it is in your textbook also. If I have a conductor which is in a circular shape, okay, and the current is flowing in the, with respect to you, let's say the current is flowing in the clockwise, with respect to me, it is flowing in the anti-clockwise. So now you are able to see a perfect circle, right? Observe this observe this completely, okay, with full concentration. So now you are able to see the circle because I placed it in the palm of my hand, in the plane of my palm. Now, if I place the same conductor perpendicular to my palm, exactly, what is that you guys are able to see? Are you still able to see a circle?
No, sir.
What are you able to see?
Straight line.
You will actually be able to see a straight line, though it is curved in nature. But when you see from this side, no, it looks like a straight line because it is a projection of this curved path onto a 2-dimension. When it is out, it is along the z-axis, right? Z-axis, you cannot put it on a paper, right? So when you put it exactly in the plane of the palm, it is circular. When you put it in the plane perpendicular to the palm, it's like a straight line. So if you put it at some inclination, then how is it appearing, guys? If you see it like this, are you able to see a full circle or something in the shape of an oval? You observe only the inner part.
Oval.
You're able to see the oval part, right? Now comes an important question. So for every circle, there is a point at the center. Correct? Every circle has a center. So from the center, if you draw a line perpendicular to this plane of the circle, then that is called as the axis of this circle. Guys, are you able to understand what is axis? So every object will have a natural axis. If I put this object into rotation, right? If I put it into rotation, right? Then the axis of this ring or the circle is going to be in this direction. Are you able to visualize it? It is something like this. This is the axis. Correct? Now what we are going to do is, if current is flowing through this conductor, our job is to find what is the magnetic field on the axis of this circular current carrying conductor. Clear, guys? So magnetic field due to a circular current carrying conductor, I have to extend the statement on the axis of it. Guys, am I clear? No confusion, right?
Yes, sir.
So this is very, very important. Okay. Now, let me show you the diagram, which is the textbook. So this is the one, magnetic field on the axis of a circular current carrying loop. Loop generally means one circle. That's it. Okay, so there are two technical words that are used in physics. Sometimes they use the word current carrying loop. Sometimes they say current carrying conductor of n turns. What do you mean by n turns? N turns means n loops. A loop means one turn. Clear? Now, you have a circular current carrying conductor. Just now, you would have understood by now why it is looking in the shape of an oval. You're neither seeing it in the plane of this palm or in the plane perpendicular to the palm, rather you're seeing at some orientation. And that is why it is appearing like it is appearing in an oval shape. Okay. And when you see this conductor, okay, according to the diagram that is given, when you see this conductor from this side, that is, if you have a round object, you can have it in front of your face. Or you can place your hand like this. Okay. Let's say this is a circular conductor. Take your left hand and place it like this, such that the palm is towards your right hand. Okay. From the right, you're seeing the circular coil. Then you can see that the current is in the anti-clockwise direction. That's the diagram representing. Okay. So this is what the diagram is representing. Let me draw it. Okay, I have an oval shaped conductor through which I have an axis. Since axis is imaginary, I'm using dotted lines. That's only logic, nothing else. Okay. So on this axis, at a distance, on this axis, there is a point P, which is at a distance x from the center. Okay, let the center be O. And let the radius of the circle be A. So what I'm trying to say is radius is A and the distance from center to axis is X. Clear? You're able to understand this point?
Yes, sir.
Now comes an important question. So when the current is flowing, when you see from this side, when the current is flowing in the anti-clockwise direction, then on the other side, the current will be in the clockwise direction. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're looking at this, if the current in this particular turn is in the downward direction, it will go to the other side in the upward direction. Right? When it is in the downward direction this side, on the other side, it will go in the upward direction. Now comes an important question. Due to this particular current that is flowing through the current carrying conductor, what is the value of what is the direction of magnetic field? I forget about value. What is the direction of magnetic field at point P? That's what we need to find first. Okay. Now comes the point. See. Just a minute, guys. Okay. So that's the meaning, guys. So when the current is flowing in this direction, our job is to find what is the magnet. If I take a current carrying element at the top, I'm going to take a current carrying element at the top whose length is going to be dl. Just a minute. Okay. So if I take a small current carrying element of length dl on the top of the conductor, then what is going to be the direction of magnetic field at point P? That's what we need to answer. Now observe, guys. According to this, I told you current in this direction is anti-clockwise. In this direction, it is in the upward direction. So it is in the anti-clockwise direction, right? If I take a dl here, right? Can you guys tell me what will be the direction of magnetic field at point P by applying the right hand thumb rule? So when the current is going in this direction, that is when if the current is flowing, look at my finger, if the current is going in this direction, then at the topmost point, the current is going to be in this direction, right? If I take a small conductor, it is in this direction. So if I place my thumb like this and curl my fingers, then I can understand that at point P, the direction of magnetic field is going to be in this direction, that is dB. So are you able to understand? So this is going to be the direction. So one way is taking this direction. Second is, so did you guys understand how this dB came? So this is the direction of magnetic field due to the small current carrying element.
So can you
Sir,
explain?
could you explain it again?
I'll explain it, listen. DL is like this stuff, okay? Current is in this direction. If I curl my fingers, look at my fingers, no? How are they going at point P? They are going in the upward direction. So that is one way to observe. I'll make it simple, okay? I'll make it simple. So if we recollect Biot-Savart law, what is who decides the direction of dB? dB vector is equal to mu naught divided by 4 pi into r square I into dl vector cross r vector, correct? So if you do the cross product of dl vector and r vector, you will be able to decide the direction of dB vector. Are you guys clear till this point?
Yes, sir.
So the direction of dB vector is decided by I into dl vector cross r vector. Now look at the way I'm going to follow vectors. Tell me what is the direction of dl vector in this case. Now I'm going to show you. When you see from this side, the current is in the anti-clockwise direction. So dl is towards me. Anything towards me is considered to be in the direction of k cap. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So from dl, I'm joining to this point. I'm joining to this point. Now if I take this dl as origin, if I take DL as origin, then what is the direction in which P is lying? What is the direction in which P is lying?
Clockwise.
The right word.
So that's right. So if I take this as origin, positive y-axis, positive x-axis, right? Then can I say that P is lying in the fourth quadrant with respect to this point as origin? This is x-axis term. Positive x-axis, negative x-axis, positive y-axis, negative y-axis. So x-axis is like this, negative y-axis like this. P is in the fourth quadrant. Are you able to visualize this? So P
Yes,
is
sir.
in the fourth quadrant. So fourth quadrant means what do I write R vector as? R vector, can I write it as I cap as positive and J cap as negative? Right. Then what is DL vector cross R vector, guys? Is it not K cap cross I cap minus J cap? Observe. What is K cross I? This is I, J, K in the anti-clockwise direction. What is K cross I? K cross I is J cap minus, what is K cross J? K cross J is minus I cap. So it is going to be J cap plus I cap. So if I and J both are positive, which quadrant is the vector going into?
First quadrant, sir.
First quadrant, and that is the reason why DB vector is going into the first quadrant. Okay. So going forward, what you can do is wherever the scenarios are tough, you can always take the direction of DL vector and R vector and tell the answer. Okay. To verify whether you guys have understood this concept, what I'm going to do is if I consider DL at the bottom, okay, and if I take this distance as R, okay. Now tell me, due to the DL at the bottom, what is going to be the direction of DB?
Minus
You,
K cap, sir.
it's not that easy. You do and see. It's not that easy.
Sir? Sir, can you explain how you found out R vector, sir?
R vector, what I did is I took the current carrying element as origin. Okay. So I took the current carrying element as origin. At that origin, I drew the reference axis. So with respect to the reference axis, I saw in which point, in which quadrant P is lying.
Okay, sir.
So in this case, the bottom DL should be taken as origin. Okay, try it out.
Sir, K cap into I cap plus J cap.
It will not be K cap anymore.
So it is I cap minus J cap.
Very good. It is I cap minus J cap. I'll tell you why. Mithun, can you explain why it is I cap minus J cap?
Sir, because I took DL vector as negative of K cap, sir, and R vector as same I cap minus J cap, sir. So cross
I
product
cap
of.
J cap, it will not be I cap minus J cap. It will be I cap plus J cap.
Okay, so then I did cross product of both the vectors. I got minus J cap plus I cap, sir.
Yes, that's right. So DL vector is minus K cap. Did you guys understand why? Because at the top, DL is towards me, so it is K cap. But at the bottom, when the current is going in this direction, imagine, no? When in this direction, if the current is in this way, at the bottom, what will be the direction of current? It will be in the opposite direction. So DL at the top, if it is in K cap direction, at the bottom, it should be minus K cap direction, right? So what did I say R vector should be? You should take this point as origin. So if you take this point as origin, the reference axis will be here. Now R vector is in which quadrant?
First quadrant.
So I cap plus J. 1 minute. 1 minute. Sorry guys, too much disturbance today. Yeah, it is in the first quadrant. So R vector is in the first quadrant, it is I cap plus J cap accepted. Okay, now if you do the cross product between them, what are you going to get? Minus K cross I cap plus J cap is minus K cross I cap.
Minus J cap.
What about minus K cross J? So it will be, see, minus K cap cross I cap minus K cap cross J cap. Minus K cross I is nothing but minus J cap. Minus of K cross J is going to be minus I cap. So that will be minus J cap plus I cap. So how much is the answer? I cap minus J cap. So which quadrant is it? It is in the fourth quadrant. Means the value of dB will be like this. Okay, this is the trickiest part with respect to this derivation. So what I want is, I want you people to try it again and see. Okay. And one important point to be noted is, whenever you're doing cross product between two vectors, the resultant, that is dB, will always be perpendicular to both the vectors for which you're doing the cross product. Means R vector and dB vector are perpendicular. Similarly, this and this are perpendicular. So you need to ensure that your diagram is clean. Okay, I'm going to take a perpendicular direction and draw it like this. dB. Similarly, here also, you need to write this as dB. I hope I'm clear, guys. Right? So if this is over, please make a note till this point. This is direction of dB, this is the direction of dB due to the lowermost vector. So give me a confirmation. Is everyone clear with this? Is
Sir, in
everyone
the
clear?
first case, R is in which quadrant, sir? The
R
first
is
case.
going into fourth quadrant.
So the
Direction of
point
R.
after which the R extends should be taken as quadrant, no, sir?
Point at which R is starting should be taken as quadrant.
Okay,
This
sir,
is the
understood, sir.
this is the point.
Okay, sir, thank you, understood, sir.
Okay, yeah. So this is the dB vector. Okay. Now comes, if you're clear, I'll proceed, guys.
Please scroll down a bit.
1 minute. You guys try it again. If you still don't understand, let me know. Okay. Listen, guys. Now here, there is an important thing that we need to observe. Not only here, throughout physics, no, wherever you have a vector quantity which is neither confined to x-axis or neither confined to y-axis completely, you always need to follow the resolution of vectors concept. So whenever you need to resolve something, you need to take the angles into consideration. So if I take this angle as theta, okay, I'm dropping a perpendicular at this point so that this will be how much? Guys, if I take this as theta, if I drop a
90
perpendicular,
minus.
90
minus.
minus, that's right. Then how much is this angle going to be?
Theta.
That's it. So this is going to be theta. In a similar way, at the bottom also it will be theta if I take this as theta. So dB at the top can be resolved into two components. One is dB cos theta and the other is dB sin theta. Correct? Similarly, dB at the bottom can also be resolved into dB cos theta in this direction and dB sin theta. So which vectors are getting added?
dB sin theta are getting
dB
added.
sin theta.
Yes, dB cos theta is getting eliminated. So can I write that the net magnetic field is nothing but 2 times dB sin theta, guys? This is our work to find. If you find this, then the next step is only integration. I told you already the method of integration is all I've already taught you. Okay. But the only challenge here is finding what that value of dB is by applying the Biot-Savart. So let's proceed. It's a simple thing. So let's see. What is the value of dB, guys? Go back to Biot-Savart law. What does Biot-Savart law state? Mu naught I divided by 4 pi r square into dl sin theta. Mu naught I dl sin theta divided by 4 pi r square. Am I clear, guys? So wait. One place where you might get confused is this theta is different and this theta is different. So I'll use it as alpha for the time being. I'll call it as alpha. Okay. Mu naught ideal sin alpha divided by 4 pi r square. Accepted, guys? Direction we have already found out. So let's not worry about the direction in this case. So what are all the values that are constant? Mu naught I by 4 pi r square is a constant. DL is an element that you have considered at the top. What is this sin alpha? What is this alpha, guys? Alpha is the angle between which two vectors? DL vector and alpha is the angle between
DL and R vector.
very good. So if I take DL, what was the direction of DL at the top? Direction of DL was towards me. R vector is like this. So let me take another object. We got some fish. So listen. This is the direction of DL vector. This is the direction of DL vector because with respect to me, current is flowing in anti-clockwise direction. Right? This is R vector. This is R vector because there is a place where point P is there. If I tilt and see, what is the angle between these two guys?
90.
It is 90. So what will happen in this case is the value of alpha will be 90 degrees. So if I take this and substitute it here, the value will come out as dB will come out as mu naught IDL divided by 4 pi r square. And let me call this as 1, then I'll call this as 2. Using 2 in 1, how much do I get? dB net will be equal to 2 times mu naught IDL divided by 4 pi r square into what is the value of sin theta, guys? That's what we need to find. Let's find it out. Into sin theta. Any doubt till here? I want you all to simultaneously write along with me. Please write it down. Any doubt? Now listen. So our job is only to find sin theta, guys. What is the value of sin theta from this triangle? So listen. If I take the right angle triangle for sin theta, I always need a right angle triangle. Then if I take this as theta, the radius of the circle is A. This distance is R and this distance is X. So what is sin theta, guys? Is it not A divided by R? Right? So this is A divided by, what is the value of R? Root of A square plus X square. Correct? So I will take this value and I will substitute it here. So what will happen? 2 times mu naught ideal divided by 4 pi r square into sine theta is a divided by root of a square plus x square. So this and this will get cancelled. So mu naught ideal divided by 2 pi r square into a divided by root of a square plus x square is the net value of dB, guys. Right? It is a net value. But we need to integrate it, right? This is a value due to dl. Now look at the right side expression and tell me how many variables do you have?
Two variables.
2.
What are the two variables?
A and X.
No. A is the radius of the circle. It is constant.
And only one variable, sir.
Then X, sir.
It is only one variable dl. X is also not a variable. Because you are trying to find it at a fixed distance. X is a distance which is fixed. With respect to this scenario, X is a fixed distance. So dl is the only thing that is varying, means I can take dl either here, 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 anywhere. So dl is the only variable. Now observe this, okay? Whenever you are doing integration, if you take 1 dl, then to cover this entire circle, dl should travel how much distance and how much angle? If I take 1 dl, like this, if I add all the dls that are there on the circle, how much is the value I'm going to get?
L.
You will not get L. The circle's radius is A. dl will get added everywhere.
A into dl, sir.
Circumference of the circle, what is confusing you guys?
2 pi
If I
dx.
take dl, it is 2 pi a. A is the radius of the circle. So if I take 1 dl, the dl will get added with all other dls and it gives 2 pi a. But in this question or in this scenario, how many dls did we consider?
2.
2. So what will happen is 1 dl I took here, the other dl I have taken here. So when first dl reaches the bottom, let's say the dls are revolving in anti-clockwise direction. When the first dl reaches the bottom, what will the second dl do? It will reach the top. Means each dl would have covered how much distance?
2 pi r. Pi r.
It would have covered pi r because they are covering only half of the circumference. So whenever the number of dls are increasing, the integration limit will keep decreasing. For example, if I take dl here, dl here, dl here, and dl here, how much should I take the limit as? 0 to?
Sir, could you repeat the question again?
So I'm saying now I took 2 dls. No, here I took a dl, here I took a dl. So what should be the limit? Integral of 0 to half of the circle. If I take 4 dls,
Quarter of a circle.
so number of dls keep increasing, the limit which we are going to take will decrease. So what I'm going to do is I will convert this r in terms of root of a square plus x square. So what will happen is mu naught I a divided by 2 pi into a square plus x square. See, r is root of a square plus x square. R square is a square plus x square into a divided by root of a square plus x square. How much am I? Sorry, dl. I push this dl this side, a this side. Okay. So mu naught I a divided by 2 pi into a square plus x square the whole power 3 by 2 times dl. This is the value of dB net. So what will be the net magnetic field, guys? This whole thing is a constant. Mu naught I a divided by 2 pi into a square plus x square into integral of dl from 0 to pi a. Okay. So mu naught I a divided by 2 pi into a square plus x square the whole power into integral of dl is L. So when you apply the limits, it is going to be pi into a. Pi and pi will get cancelled. You will get mu naught I a square divided by 2 into a square plus x square the whole power 3 by 2. is the value of the net magnetic field due to this circular current carrying loop. And this is a very, very important value which is to be remembered. In the next chapter also, you will have this value that is going to come.
So I have a doubt.
Please tell me.
So what happened to the 3/2, sir, actually?
Where is 3/2?
2 pi into a square
Oh,
plus x.
sorry. Here it is there. Sorry, I forgot to write. 3/2. Here also 3/2.
The upper limit is pi into a, right, sir?
Pi into a. Correct.
Okay, so that's it.
Yeah, it's pi into a. So this is the magnetic field due to one loop. Okay. Now, if I extend this concept, then listen. What will be the magnetic field due to n circular loops? It will be B net is equal to mu naught capital N I A square divided by 2 into A square plus X square the whole power 3/2. Okay. No.
Sir,
Please tell me.
so what do you mean by n circular loop, sir?
N loops means one level. See. Okay. I'm removing this wire. Just a minute. So I have a wire in my hand. Okay. Let's say this is the current carrying conductor. If I hold it like this, it's going to be a straight current carrying conductor. Now, if I take this and turn it like this in the form of a circle, this is a circular loop of obviously of one turn. If I make another turn, this is of two turns, means two loops, three loops like this. To put it in simple terms, it looks like a coil. I'm not sure if you have seen the coils in these fans and everything when they repair it. You would have seen certain coils which are there inside it. Those coils are called as circular loops of n turns. Are you able to
Okay, sir.
visualize it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Right? Mu naught n I A square divided by 2 into A square plus X square the whole power 3/2. As I told you, this value is very important and it has to be remembered. We'll go to the next point. Using the same logic, what is going to be the magnetic field at the center of the coil? So when I say center of the coil, can I say X is equal to 0? Because if this is the loop, if I have to reach the center from point P, then I need to make the distance to be 0. Distance from the center to point P as 0. That is X is 0. If I put X as 0, what will you get the value of B net as? It will be mu naught N I A square divided by 2a
Or
cube. No. Put x is equal to 0 in this term. Mu naught ni a square divided by 2 into a square, the whole power 3 by 2. So 2 and 2 will get cancelled, so it will become a cube. So this and this will get cancelled. You will get mu naught ni divided by 2a. Okay, here it is a coil of n turns. Please make a note of that point because capital N is there. If it is only one loop, the capital N will be equal to 1. That's it. So mu naught n into I divided by 2 into a. Guys, am I clear with this?
So can you explain why x is equal to 0?
Okay, I'll explain. Listen, it's very simple. You have this loop, okay. Let me take that example. So you have this loop. What is our job? I need to the current is flowing in the wire. Wire is present here. Inside it is hollow. So I need to find the magnetic field due to this current at the center. This point, correct? So this B net value, that mu naught NIA square divided by 2 into a square plus x square plus 3 by 2 is somewhere over here. This is the point P. Correct? Accept it. So
Yes, sir.
when can this point P coincide with origin or the center?
Sir,
Only when can the point P coincide with the center? See, the distance here is x star. So when the point P
Yes.
keeps moving closer, the value of x is going to decrease. When the point P is exactly reaching the center, the value of x is
yes, sir. Okay, sir.
0. That is it. Okay. So that is why it is mu naught into n into I divided by 2 into a. So here I want to enforce on one important point. Guys, revisit the concept of magnetic field due to a straight current carrying conductor of infinite length and tell me what is the value.
Mu naught I by 2 pi a.
Mu naught I by 2 pi a. Here if I put n is equal to 1, magnetic field due to a coil at the center will be equal to how much? Mu naught I by 2a. Infinite length is mu naught I by 2 pi a. Okay. Aren't these two looking similar?
Yes, sir.
Because these are the two mostly used formulae for CBSE. And questions will be also asked from this point only. You know, the major confusion will start at this point. When you look at the magnetic field due to a circular coil, we tend to write pi in the denominator because when we talk about circle, area or circumference, everywhere pi is involved. So involuntarily, we will be writing a pi in the denominator, but observe this equation. With respect to a circular coil, there is no pi in the denominator. Please make a clear note of that point. Mu naught I divided by 2 into a. Whereas if you talk about a straight current carrying conductor of infinite length, it is going to be mu naught I divided by 2 pi into a. Okay. So I want you to clearly have a difference between these two. Similarly, when you talk about the coil, A stands for the radius. Whereas when you talk about the infinite length wire, A stands for the perpendicular distance. Clear? These are the two important differentiating factors you need to keep in your mind. That is when you solve the problems, no, you will have this confusion. How to handle the problems I teach you, that's not a big deal. But I want you to have a clarity on how to use the formula and when to use which formula. Okay. So any other doubt from today's class?
I have a doubt.
So that's it
Sir,
from my
one doubt
side.
I have, sir.
Please tell me.
Sir, we know the value for mu naught by 4 pi, sir, but how do we calculate here the value for mu naught?
Mu naught by 2. Huh?
Yes, sir.
It's simple. See, mu naught by 4 pi is how much? Is 10 power minus 7. So what you can do is take mu naught is equal to 4 pi into 10 power minus 7. Take and substitute it here.
And we'll substitute pi as 3.14, sir.
Yeah, pi is pi only. Pi has no other thing. Pi is fixed. But only thing is the formula doesn't have pi. That is what I'm trying to say. Because they both,
Okay,
if you observe, they both are looking similar. Okay,
Okay, so understood.
that's good. So any other doubt, guys? Okay, then that's it from my side. I'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Um,
sir, can you hear me?
Vishnu, tell me.
Enable the notes for the chapter electrostatics and current and electricity.